What's going on, everybody? It is a beautiful Sunday up in Connecticut, United States, and I am in so much joy, ready to take on the day in which I will be speaking with, or not speaking with, guys. I will be doing a scavenger hunt with my family. Anybody who's local and wants to join, Elm Park at 1 o'clock. We about to have a party up in this place. But that's not why I joined. I was just reading, as some of you know, and I wanted to read something and then break it down a little bit because it bears to the conversation I was just having with one of my family members who I love deeply. The power of love is in hope, for by it we await the reward of love. The failing of hope is a disappearance of love. Hope is a rest from labors in the midst of those labors. Toils depend on it. Mercy encircles it. Experience of the gifts of the giver of life, creation, love, however you define um, something greater than yourself, um, engenders hope. But he, and this is important, and this is why I'm on here because I think it's so important, guys. He who is without experience remains in doubt. So I was just having a conversation with somebody I love, and I know I come off hard. I know I come off like I judge people for not taking action or doing things when they're in a state of depression and anxiety. It's not because I don't have empathy, and it's not because I have no compassion. It's not because I don't care. It's because I care deeply because I've done this work for 31 years. I'm going to be 45 in May. I started studying psychology at 14 years old, trying to figure out my own life. And I experienced a myriad of anxiety and depression and addictions. And I was a slave to external circumstances until I started to show up and take action. And so, what this piece says that I really want to highlight for people is he who is without experience remains in doubt. This world is consumed with overthinking. Our greatest addiction is overthinking. It has nothing to do with anything other than we've got to take action. And it can be small. I'm not here to tell you that you need to jump in and immediately go from feeling anxious or stuck in depression or unworthiness to achieving goals. But you do need to do something because sitting around just overthinking is only going to get you caught in more of an experience of anxiety, of suffering, of struggle. And so when I think about this passage that I just wrote, he who is without experience will doubt. The only way that you can believe in yourself, believe that things will feel better, believe that things will get better, believe that you can accomplish anything your mind comes up with is to take action, to do one small thing a day, to show up for yourself and do something small, whether it's drink a glass of water and celebrate yourself, or whether it's reach out and ask for help, whether it is go for a walk, something. But the reality is most people, they get stuck in this overthinking mind, which cripples them, which prevents them from experiencing the gloriousness that this life has to offer in every single moment. But most people don't know that because they're sitting in their homes, they're sitting on their video games, they're sitting on their TVs, they're sitting on their phones, and they are just stuck in their overthinking mind rather than experiencing something, rather than taking action. The world can't save you. It's never going to save you. You have to save yourself. And if you think you can save yourself by thinking yourself into healing, I hate to be the one to break it to you, but you simply cannot. The only way you heal yourself is to take action, to do one thing differently. The reality is, guys, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And yet, when I look around the world as a whole today, that's exactly what I see a lot of. I see people feeling stuck and suffering, but doing the same thing over and over, expecting things to change. I saved myself by slowly changing my behaviors. It wasn't this grand change that I leapt into. I didn't figure out how to feel better all at once. You know what I did? I started gratitude practice. That's it. I On my way to work into Boston, I had to take the train. I would write 5 things I was grateful for. And over the course of time, and it was a non-negotiable. So here's the other thing, guys. You were not going to want to do the thing that you need to do because it's not part of your repertoire. It's not part of your behaviors. So when you just accept the fact that the thing that you need to do, you're not going to want to do, and you become driven enough to just do it anyway, well, then there's power in that. And then you have the experience of knowing something different, which cultivates hope. At the end of the day, most people don't have to worry about the good opinion of anybody else. They really don't. Because most people don't think well enough of themselves to free themselves of suffering. And so they're a slave to their own thoughts. I just started working with 2 more people in the past week who don't see anything valuable about themselves, who literally have been so conditioned to believe that they are worthless, that they don't matter. And the reality is part of changing behaviors is changing how you see yourself. So making a choice to make a different decision and seeing yourself. And sometimes you need help, sometimes you don't. I'm not here to sell you on anything. I'm here to encourage you to consider stepping outside of what you know and start doing something differently, whatever that is. Because in doing so, you will experience more freedom. You will experience more empowerment. You will experience more self trust in yourselves. You will experience things that you wouldn't have otherwise experienced because you prove to yourself that things can be different. I can sit here and talk to you till I'm blue in the face. But the reality is, until you go through a visceral experience for yourself, until you go through an energetic shift, until you feel what it's like to get up and practice gratitude or go for a walk or drink water when you don't and celebrate yourself, or listen to a podcast that educates, or surround yourself with people who are loving rather than tearing you down, or petting an animal, you will not ever know what it's like to know freedom. And that's the thing I want for everybody, guys. I really do. Because I know what it's like to sit in suffering. I know what it's like to be in the depths of hell where you're so depressed that the idea of getting out of bed feels just like a monumentally impossible task. I know. But I also know that I pull myself out of the depths of that suffering to experience a life that many, many people have gone to their grave never knowing the joy, the freedom, the peace, the love, the connection, the power that I experience in any given moment in any given day. And that's real talk. And I want that for everybody because you know what the reality is? I want every single person to know how limitless and powerful they are. And y'all are. You guys have the capacity to create a life that is so limitless in your capacity to love, to have abundance, to travel. And yet, none of us know that because we have been conditioned to sit in suffering, sit in anxiety, think our way into healing. You don't have to think your way into healing, guys. You don't. The reality is you have to take action, and that taking that action will help you discover more things about yourself, and then you just learn and you heal through that. I was recently talking to a client, and it is so true. In a lot of different scriptures, it says jump and the net will appear. And that's the reality. You're not going to think yourself into wanting to get up and go for a walk. You're not going to think yourself into putting down the cocaine. You're not going to think yourself into not going for that fourth bottle of whatever it is. But what you will do is you'll take an action. You can, instead of going for the fourth bottle, go for a walk, reach out to somebody for support. You can ask a loved one to help you get out of bed in the morning because you struggle with addiction. um there's always something you can do. And again, I'm here to tell you, if you think that you can think yourself into experiencing freedom, peace, joy, happiness, hope, you cannot. You just think yourself into more suffering, more judgment, more condemnation. But if you experience by taking an action, which can be super duper small, um what it's like to get up and do it differently. Well, now you're providing evidence to your brain that suggests that you can, quite in fact, experience life differently, that you don't have to experience life the way you've known, and that you can break free from anything that really keeps you from experiencing joy, peace, freedom, happiness, love, connection. Um, that's my hope for all of you guys, really. So on this Sunday, some of you guys celebrate Easter. I'm going to be doing a scavenger hunt in Worcester. I encourage you to ask yourself this: has thinking about making changes been beneficial to you? Or can you consider a possibility about experiencing, taking action, and then providing yourself with the evidence needed to make a change? Because in that, you will prove to yourself that you quite in fact are limitless, powerful, and have the ability to live a life that's based on your terms, that is free, that is joy filled, and that is filled with people who love you for who you are, not who you think you need to be. So much love. Bye, guys.